Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of nostalgia on the YouTube channel. Nowadays when I make YouTube videos, usually around Top Drives, or well, always, all my content is basically like 99% Top Drives. I like to resort to making and designing slides to convey information. But I remember back then I used to just make everything, all of my videos just out of out of Top Drives itself, because I used to record my videos on the iPad and the iPhone. It was just easier to screen record everything. It was easier for the edits. Well, today's video we're actually staying in the game. We're not going to tier maker or anything like that. We're staying in the game, and I just want to talk to you guys about the 10, in my opinion, probably the hardest Tri-Series prize cars I had to ever fight for, and what I had to use to gain them. Okay, so in today's episode I'll be showcasing you 10 of my hardest battles, but obviously like these are wins, right? You know, one thing I love about Top Drives is that they're highs and they're lows. What I love the most about a Tri-Series is that there's so much highs, but there are also a lot of lows. The highs are ridiculously high and the lows are just the worst. But anyway, today we're talking about my hardest fights for some of my favorite wins. And if you want a continuation where I talk about the cars that I might have missed out on, I got a couple of prize cars where, you know, your boy hit the 11th place or the 9th place back in the day, which really stings me still this day because, for example, if I go into all cars, right, this car has never gotten a rerun. So until today, it stings me that I was one place off the XJR9. This will forever be like one of the cars where it just really just attacks me to my soul, seriously. Like maybe if I fully upgraded my Lamborghini, I would have won the car. Who knows, you know? But yeah, that car never came back, and we're years and years down, and you know, I've never gotten a second chance. But anyway, let's talk about the good stuff. And in today's video, I'm going to start off with the Pujo 908 HDIFAP. Now, I won this car on Independence Day, 4th of July, back in 2021. So almost 3 years ago now, and since then it's received no upgrades, so it stays at, you know, 111 or 333 depending on how you annotate your upgrade numbers, but I'm gonna say 111. I won it, 4th of July, almost 3 years ago. That's 1,045 days. I've raced it almost 2,500 times, and it has a win ratio of 92%. So that's the first one. I do want to talk about the HDIFAP. I remember when I won this car, I made a video that got a little bit of hot water with Hodge, because there were a little bit too many innuendos, too many double entendres, because, you know, the name. I'm not going to get back into that again, but I'm just saying, I remember getting into a little bit of hot water with that one. Just me being, you know, immature, as always. Now, let me show you what was the hand that I basically used. I think it's easier if I just searched up every car by its actual name, because, you know, the game has grown so much more exponentially than what it used to be. So, the first one I got, and this is going to be a trend that you will see, with a lot of the hardest prize cars that I've won, the hardest battles, I have to fully upgrade, like, really low rated legendaries. The Pagani Zonda starts us off. To be fair, not the worst investment. It is one of the better fully upgraded legendaries that I had to max for a Tri-Series. So I've used it 1,519 times. I've owned it for 1,048 days with a win ratio of 83. This was at 233, and to be fair, this is actually a fantastic epic killer. Basically up to like maybe 2 updates ago, this used to be a fantastic epic killer because this thing has like 105 MRA, and it's also like really light. If I remember correctly, 1,125 kilograms. Now, other cards that I used for this was the GTSR, but I can't put just GTS because there's like a dash. But I believe I used the GTSR concept. Yes, I did, because it's 2000s, right? Obviously, I had to write everything down on notes because like I had to really dig deep into my memory to find out, you know, what I really use. You know, a lot of these information was from years and years and years ago. But yeah, the GTSR, so I used that as well. That's fully upgraded. Another card that I ended up using was the Volkswagen Phaeton, right? So that's another one. The Phaeton W12, so that's another epic that I had to fully upgrade. I don't use this car at all anymore. Over 1,000 days, yep, same age as the Pagani, actually. 883 races, but the win ratio isn't too bad. And I think the main reason was because I used used it a lot at the start because it was four-wheel drive standard, but now they're just a lot more better four-wheel drive entire cars in my garage where I don't really use the Phaeton anymore. And then the last couple of cars that I use, oh, I remember this one. It's the RS4 Avant. Oh, did he change the name? Maybe if I put it in Avant. Yeah, it's this one. The RS Space 4 Avant. This was like the second best option. The best one was like the Mitsubishi Evo 6, I believe. And remember, the Evo is still medium ground clearance. The RS4 used to be like RQ 74, 75, and it had medium ground clearance. Since that final, it got nerfed. It went down to low, but I remember this helped me win the City Street track set a lot of the time. But yeah, it used to be medium ground clearance. It's not anymore. I had it fully upgraded, and as you can see, it's also about the same age, right? 1,045 days old, 750 races, 78% win ratio. I remember this one because I was actually very close to losing the HDIFAP. I needed a City Streets car that was, you know, better than whatever I was using. I can't remember anymore. And I remember I just like legit like 2 hours left in the final. I just spent like $50 and I just hoped and begged that I was gonna get a decent car. And I got the RS4 and I was like, oh my god, this is actually gonna save my butt. So I got the RS4, I speed maxed it, and it won me the HDI. So yeah, I had to upgrade a lot of crap for this, the RS4 as well as the Pagani. The last car I was using is indeed the RSX, the Acura RSX. I believe there was a wet track set. If not, I can't see any other reason why I was using this car. Anyway, we're not buying slots today. Moving on to the next car that I want to talk about, which was an absolute bloodbath and I had to fight super hard for, is this one right here, the Pujo 208 WRX. I won this car February 27th, 2022. So 807 days ago, I've raced it 1,894 times with a win ratio of honestly not that good. Like a car for its stature, 109 RQ. It has always been rated one of the best cars in the game, and with a win ratio of less than 90% is not very good, if you asked me. Yeah, I remember what I had to use to upgrade this thing, man. It was not a fun day. So the first one was the 640i. This was not the one that I used. The one that I used was like, if you remember, I had it at 2-star. It was like an RQ80 Legendary at the time, and it was so bad because this was a 640i after it got nerfed. So when it wasn't one of the best 4-wheel drive center tire cars in the game anymore, because at one point it had like 92 handling or something like that. So it got a huge nerf, and I had to upgrade it as an RQ80. It was not a fun time. I don't have that car anymore. I sold it, I think. I don't even have the upgrades because, you know, I won the Pujo before World Expo. World Expo brought the tokens and we could change our fuses around because this car went from Legend to Epic. So I got my Legend tokens back and I think I put those upgrades in, I believe, the Alpha 164 Pro car. But yeah, this was one of the cars that I ended up using. The other two Legends that I ended up using were these two, the BMW M5, which I had to fully upgrade. I use it from time to time still today. It's decent. So I've had it for 1,112 days. I've raced it 2,231 times with an 88% win ratio. So I believe I've actually raced it more than the prize car, and it has the same win ratio, which is interesting. Another car that I used was another BMW M5, which I also did upgrade in weight. So this was a very, very expensive final for me. And in hindsight, looking back at it, the prize car wasn't worth the amount of resources I put into it. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. It just wasn't. And then other cars that I was using was my mom's old SUV. She had this for like a short period of time. The X3 M40i. This was a fantastic car. Really funny story about this. I actually had the X3 M40i a long time ago. I think I pulled it back in like at the start of German Renaissance, I believe, back in like 2020 or something like that. Now, if you remember, if you're an OG player to Top Drives, you will remember that the X3 M40i used to have like something like 88, 89 MRA. It was a fantastic dragster. And I had a drag spec, and then they nerfed the car. I got the upgrades switched over to another car. This was back when you could still do that, right? Back when support still allowed that. But obviously now that's not a no-go anymore. But this was a long time ago. It was like 4 years ago, something like that. So I had the, it used to be a great drag car. It got nerfed. I got the upgrade swapped over to another car. Then I had the stock, I think, for a while. I'm not sure if this is the same X3. It looks really old. It might actually be the same X3. So I went on and upgraded, fully upgraded it again, but this time at 323 for the final for the Pujo 208. So that was done. So that was a really good one. And the last one is the Continental, which we'll see later on because it won me another big prize car at the time, the Continental GT Speed Coupe. So that was my winning hand for the Pujo 208 WRX. Now, moving on to another big fight. This one was the GTSR. Obviously, this is a fantastic car. I've used it so many times. It's a Dodge legend. I've raced it 4,396 times. Like, I do not use this car lightly, right? 92% win ratio, and I owned it for almost 1,340 days, so 1,339 days. If you remember, the requirements for this was 5 times Sweden, 4 times Volvo. So you could use like 1 Koenigsegg, and I won this all the way back in September 12th. 2020. Wow, that's an old one. But yeah, obviously that's fully upgraded. Love it. The first car, I was about to put in Blossegg, actually, is not. It's the Koenigsegg. So I used Blossegg, the Agera R. This was the MVP for winning that Viper. So I was really happy to get that as a fully upgraded one, of course. Another car that I used, most of the rest were all Volvos, so I can just search up Volvo. So Volvo S80. Remember, this is the time before European Revolution. Sorry, not Europe. This was the time before ENW, so you could only use European Revolution Volvos. I was using the S80 V8, which I've also owned for just 1 day more than the GTSR, right? 1,177 races, 82% win ratio. It's basically like a better version of the Volkswagen Phaeton because it handles better, right? So I do use it a little bit more. Other cars that I used were these two GREs, the XC90 as well as the XC40. The XC40 used to be somewhat decent back when European Revolution was the newest update, and that was because it was very light. 1,576 kilograms makes it a very light car. I don't use it anymore because there are just a lot better options now, and also because four-wheel drive all-pivot tires is a pretty, useless niche in the game. But yeah, it was decent for its time. The XC90 was always crap. I never liked it, and I say I barely use it, but I think it has a strangely high win percentage. Okay, 74 is not that good. Yeah, I don't use it often. 371 races in 1,341 days. Last but not least, the final car that I used was this one right here, the Volvo V90 T6 all-wheel drive. I'm not sure if this was the exact one that I used because I used to own 2 fully upgraded. I sold one because after European New Wave, I never ever needed using these Volvos ever again. So yeah, that was the hand that I had to use to win the Viper GTSR. And as always, I must say, Pops, thank you. If you remember, I had a Patreon. His name was Pops. Unfortunately, he quit playing the game like years ago. But if it wasn't for him, I would not have won the GTSR. He actually Venmo'd me cash, okay, at the time, and he was like, go buy more packs, he literally said. So yeah, if it wasn't for him, man, like when I was making videos back then, like I didn't have a full-time job or anything like that, like your boy was broke, man. Like I think I set myself like, I think 3 or 4 carbons to open, and I was like, not 3 or 4, but maybe 7 or 8 carbons to open. And then after that, I was like, okay, if I don't get anything from that, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But Pop was like, nah, open more. So yeah, shout out to him. If it wasn't for him, I would have never owned the Viper GTSR, seriously. Okay, now moving on to another prize car that I do want to talk about. This is one of my favorite stories. This one doesn't need no notes. It's a Porsche 918 Spider. Dude, I freaking love this. So I won this, one of my first ever prize cars that I ever won, June 13th, 2018. Almost 6 years ago, right? If I'm doing my math correctly, I think like 6 years ago. I've owned it for 2,162 days. I've raced it 14,310 times, and it has a win ratio of 91%. This is fully upgraded. This is the beast. Probably my most raced, no, not probably, it is my most raced car in my entire garage. Over 14,000 races. I will always remember, this is the most memorable car in my entire garage because of the manner of how I won it. Not even what the hand that I use, but where I won it. This is the only prize car, I believe. I don't think there's any other prize car that kind of fit in so perfectly with the timing. This is the only prize car I won on a flight I was flying. I was literally in a plane. I bought Wi-Fi. Literally bought Wi-Fi just so I could compete and get the Porsche 918. Now, you don't want me screaming in the middle of a plane, okay? That's no bueno. That's not good. Yeah, I'll always remember it, man. I was flying. It was, I just graduated from high school. And I was flying from Seattle, Washington down to Orange County to meet some of my best friends because we were going to Disneyland. And yeah, it just so happened that I think finals in Seattle at the time, they ended at like 2 p.m. I think it was 2 p.m. And yeah, I was literally flying at the time. So the Porsche 918 Spider, dude, this thing is a legend. Everything about it, the prize car, the fact that I won it on the first ever time, the fact that I was a brand new player, one of my first ever Tri-Series prize cars, the way that I had won it was just phenomenal. Now, another really special thing about this Tri-Series was that you could use prize cars to win prize cars back in the day. This is like 6 years ago, right? So I used this, the 911 GT1 Stress Invasion, and this was back when it had the older photo, right? So yeah, this was one of the cars that I used. Another one that I used was the RQ26 at the time, Porsche 911 Carrera S. On top, I'm trying not to look at my notes. I'm pretty sure I have this memorized on what I used. I also used the Porsche 911 GT2 RS, as you can see, very, very old car, 6,950 times, 2,298 days old. What else? I think I used the Panamera as well. Yeah, I used the Panamera. Where's the Panamera? Actually, where is the Panamera? Where are you? Oh, there it is. Panamera Turbo, right? So, and that should be the entire hand, I believe. So the Panamera, the GT2, Stress Invasion, the Porsche 911. I'm missing one car. What was the final car? Actually, now I need to check my notes. I do forget. Oh, wait. I didn't even write down. Oh, I didn't write down. I didn't write down what the final car was. What was the final car? What was the final car I used to win the Porsche? I can't remember. You know what? I think it was the 911 Turbo. I actually think it was the 911 Turbo because this was I got this. This was my first ever legendary from a ceramic pack, I believe. 2,244 days. 856 races, 64% win ratio. This car is terrible. But back then, I didn't know that fully upgraded epics were so much better than legendaries. Back then, I just thought, oh, if you're a legendary, you're gonna be capable. I was so wrong with that. But yeah, that was a hand. That was a really, really good hand. One of the hands of all time. So, won the Porsche 918 with that, and it's amazing. Honestly, so happy. Now, last car that I want to talk about. I actually wrote down 10 cars, but I realized that this video is probably going to end up being very long if I wanted to reminisce on every single car. I might do an honorable mention. Yeah, I'll do honorable mentions. Sure, I'll do honorable mentions. The last car I'll talk about is a Hennessy, but we'll talk about the Hennessy later. So some honorable mentions, the ones I didn't get to talk about. Audi R18 TDI, got super lucky winning this, got 10th place or something like that, or like 12th place. Like whatever the final place in the tier for winning the car was, I got that. My hand was absolutely garbage for that. The Yesco Absolute as well, really, really happy to have won that. May 9th, 2021, it was pre-2000s 4-seaters. I used the Max 959. That was the final that the Max, the crappy 959 for 911 Turbo, Roof RCT, and 2 BTRs. Other cars I also wanted to talk about that I didn't have time to talk about would be the Alpha Pro Car. That's a Pro Car right here. Pro Car I won January 31st, 2021. It was ×5 2000 to 2004 rear-wheel drive. I used a Lotus 340R, a 911 GT2, the Yellow Egg, the CCR Koenigsegg, and I think it was a Viper, like a Dodge Viper. But yeah, final honorable mention. I cannot believe that we don't have time for this. The Bugatti Chiron Sport. Nah, I gotta end on this. Fine, I'll give honorable mentions to the Hennessy. Maybe I should make this a 2-part series. I got so many stories to tell of 6 years of playing. Hennessy Venom F5, the car that made me retire from maxing crap, basically. Like, yes, I know I recently maxed crap for the Koenigsegg Chimera. It wasn't actually crap. I mean, yeah, it was a rear-wheel drive Sanitara car, but it was a decent one, I guess. I don't know. But it was American, so, you know, I will always have that, you know, stipulation. Like, as long as it's American, I don't really care if it's a Jerry or not. Like, if it's American, I'll probably upgrade it. But the Hennessy Venom F5, yeah, this was just hell. I remember this was hell, getting that, because I had to max out the stupid Panamera, which I have not used since, by the way. 192 races, yeah, high win ratio, because all I used it for was to win in that final. for, you know, over a year, 380 days now. This was a car that I unpacked a long time ago, so that's why. Didn't unpack it. I know I unpacked the second Panamera during the Hennessy finals because like that pack just ended up being such a kick in the balls. But that car was fused away. And the last car that I want to give a shout out to, not the Sauber, right? Sorry, Mercedes C11. It was lock to lock times 5. I used like 2 Ultras and 3 Epics, something like that. I think I have the notes for it somewhere. Yeah, 2 Afigis. Everyone was using Afigis and 3 Max Holdens. Remember? Green. I needed the green. And there was an entire meme about that, how I needed the green cars to win the Sauber. So that one won it. That one as well. That one. I use all these 3 Max Epics for that, and then 2 Afigis. Anyway, we end off with the cream of the crop. I think this goes hand in hand with incredible stories with the Porsche 918. This is the 36-hour final. The moment I joined all the way till winning the car, I did not sleep all weekend. 36 hours straight, did not sleep. Okay, I took naps. So basically what happened was that I never wasted a ticket. I think 5 tickets refresh every 2 hours. So if I wanted to sleep, I would sleep in like 90-minute intervals. And that was the first night. The second night, I didn't sleep at all because the reality of the Bugatti Chiron Sport was that my hand was not that good. It was like borderline. It was like everybody wanted this, right? This was the best car at the time. Like this was the car to win. And it was a bloodbath. Absolute freaking bloodbath. February 16th, 2020. It was 5 times GE, and I can show you my hand right now. I don't even need, I can throw the notes away. See the notes? See all these notes I have here? I'm just gonna put them to the side. I don't need them because I know off the top of my head. I saw this hand for 36 hours straight. I will remember what I used. So let's go back to Great Exhibition. Let's go to non-prize. What did I use? I started off with a Legend, which isn't even a Legend anymore. It's this, the Evora Sport 410. I don't even know if this is the exact car that I use. No, I don't think so. No, it's definitely not. So the car that, oh, that's kind of sad. Why did I do that? So the Evora Sport 410 that won me the Bugatti Chiron Sport is not even in my garage anymore. Oh well. I had to fully upgrade that, if you remember. I think almost, like it was 21 out of 24. I think it was like 223 or 133 or something like that. So I had to use that. I had a fully upgraded Defender, Works V8. As you can see, this one is the real deal. What else did I use? I also used the Continental. Like I said, we'll see the Continental again in today's video, and we did. I got 3 of these Continentals. Yep, the Continental GT Speed Coupe. 1,573 days, 1,175 total races, 73% win ratio. So that's 3 cars. What else did I used the Lotus, right? The Lotus Exige 265E. I believe 1,564 days. 742 races, 72% win ratio. Is that 5 cars? No, there's one more car that I'm missing. So Rover, Exige, Evora, Continental. Oh, damn. Surely I remember what the final car is. I don't. Yeah, I don't remember what the final car was. Okay, well, on that bombshell, those were some of my hardest, tri-series battles ever. So anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments below if you want to hear more of these stories. I've got a lot of them, to be honest. It made me realize how many stories I had while recording this video right now. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville.